Hello, I'm Adam. I produce and perform music as Trustless Mechanism, and these are the Omnitone Rhythmi and Beatsi. First, we'll do a quick and dirty overview of what they are, and then we'll get into some patches. Rhythmi is a generative drum sequencer, and Beatsi is a drum voice. They can be connected via a jumper cable on the back, essentially making them one instrument and saving you on patch real estate. Rhythmi is also capable of outputting some melodies via the tom CV output. Let's do a quick run through of the controls. To add triggers to the sequence on Rhythmi, you turn the density and synco knobs. Density will control the amount of on-beat hits, and synco will control the amount of off-beat. Let's add some more parts. Snare, closed hi-hat, and open hi-hat. Bring in the tom. I have the decay of the tom cranked right now, so it sounds more like a bass line. You can also control the length and the swing. The energy knob will control the density of both the density knobs and the synco knobs. Pressing the evolve encoder will generate a new sequence, and you can long press it to switch between the 5 bass sequences of Rhythmi. And you can turn it to add and subtract triggers in a generative way. There are trigger inputs for each drum sound on Beatsi. The hi-hat takes both triggers and gates, triggers being the closed hi-hat and gates being the open. Using the parameter and value encoders, you can adjust
timbre,
pitch, decay, and level for each drum sound on the grid. Changing the
timbre
on the snare. Pressing the parameter and value encoders selects which values you would like CV1 and CV2 to be applied to. You can long press the encoders to attenuate the incoming CV. You can also mute parts by pressing both the encoders at once. Now let's get into some patches. On this patch I have Rhythmi generating a marching band type beat, which I am modulating via its evolve control with a random stepped waveform from Pamela's Pro Workout. I'm also modulating the decay on the hi-hat on Beatsi with a sine wave LFO from the Moog Matriarch, and the kick trigger output is patched to the generate input on Rossi. Rossi is another Omnitone module. This one's an oscillator that can generate random waveforms based on parameters that you set. I have that running through the Matriarch. I'll bring that in now. I also have Beatsi running through the 2HP verb to give it a bit of depth. If we turn up the tom amount, we'll add a few more available notes to the sequence. I find sequences like this to be hypnotic. Let's see what happens when I turn the tom amount all the way up. Let's crank up energy. Tom density. And let's turn that back down. On this patch, I'm using the tom CV output on Rhythmi to control the pitch of the oscillators on the Moog Matriarch as well as the Labyrinth. I'm using the snare trigger output to trigger the envelopes on the Matriarch and the tom trigger output to trigger the envelopes on the Labyrinth. I'm also using the hi-hat trigger output to modulate the blend control on Labyrinth between the wave-folded and filtered signal paths. On Beatsi, I'm using Pamela's Pro Workout to trigger the kick and snare, while the hi-hat is being triggered by Rhythmi. Beyond that, within Ableton, I am sidechaining the Labyrinth and Matriarch to Beatsi. You can hear when I turn the energy knob up all the way, a descending pattern starts to occur. I can also transpose the CV going into the Matriarch by pressing one of the keys. Let's go down an octave. I'll mute the kick. Bring it back in. In this patch, I want to throw Rhythmi at a few more modules, so I have its kick triggering one DFAM as a kick, and its snare out triggering the other DFAM as a snare. I'm using the hi-hats on Beatsi, I'll bring those in now. And then the tom, CV, and trigger are controlling the Labyrinth's pitch and triggering its envelopes. Let's bring in the Labyrinth. By tweaking the tom amount and tom density, you can get pretty performative. Few LFOs running on Pamela's Pro Workout controlling the filter cutoff on the Labyrinth as well as the filter decay on my kick DFAM. In my opinion, the mark of a good eurorack module is in its patching possibilities and how it pulls you into the present moment. With generative modules such as Rhythmi, you're rewarded by listening and experimenting. I think that's what patching is all about. I found the drum sounds in Beatsi to be charming and cleverly implemented. The lo-fi aesthetic and simplicity made me want to make dark wave music, which I think is a plus. If you made it this far in the video, I appreciate your time, and I'd be grateful if you liked and subscribed. Cheers, see you in the next one.